Welcome to church.
Hey, welcome to church.
Welcome to church.
Welcome to church.
Yeah, I think a lot of us feel like that. Just, it's this. I'm very thankful for the songs that say, He is our breath, the breath of God, and because it reminds me that it's His breath that keeps me going. Because sometimes my body doesn't want to take a breath, so it's like, and I remember that no matter what the world throws at me, it's His breath that keeps me going. It's His breath that keeps me alive and keeps me functioning. And if we're here and we're sitting here today and we're breathing, we have something to be thankful for. Amen? Because there's a lot of people who can't even go out of the house right now. And there's a lot of people who can go out of the house, but they're so afraid they won't go out of the house. And to me, that's worse than the other. To be so under the subject of fear that you're kept from living. You have so much fear in your life that you can't live. And and I'm glad that we're all up and about and doing our stuff and trusting in God and what we need to do. We're going to go ahead and continue and do another day of the red letters. Today I'm going to be teaching on Good Shepherd. Does everybody know who the Good Shepherd is? Yeah? Okay, we'll get there. Okay, shepherd in the Bible, it actually means it's a noun. And it's someone who watches over or looks after or guides somebody. A shepherd is someone who watches over, looks after, or guides somebody. How many of you help watch over somebody, look after somebody, or guide somebody in life? You guys are a shepherd. And then we're going to get into some of the stuff that shepherds need to do and some of the things shepherds shouldn't do. And but in that, I'm trying to get a lay down that whatever Jesus does, He is the Good Shepherd. Whatever He does, He's laying an example for us. He came here in the human form to be an example in everything we should do. We call Him the Good Shepherd, so therefore we should be good shepherds. Now, granted, we won't be as good as Him, but we should strive to work towards that. But in doing so, we get so wrapped up in the world and things of our own that we get our eyes off of what we should be doing and how we should be doing it. I'm going to be talking out of John 10, verses 11 through 13. This is in the Passions Translation. This is Jesus talking. This is our red letters. I am the good shepherd who lays down my life as a sacrifice for the sheep. You know how that one thing is, nothing is, no greater friend is one other than one that would lay down their life for another? That's being a good shepherd. I am the good shepherd, He says, who lays down my life as a sacrifice for the sheep. He's talking about this, and He did that. He didn't just speak the words, He walked it out. The thing about it is He didn't do it just getting on the cross and taking every sin that we've all created and every sin that we've done and every person will do and take that on and go to the grave and beat that. He didn't only do that. He is there every day dying for us. Because He paid the price for the sins that we've done, and He's going to pay the price for the sins we're going to do. He lays His life down not only in His physical of taking His life and dying on that cross and the pain and the anguish, taking on everything that's there, but He does it in every aspect of helping us through. He gives of Himself fully for us. That's laying down a life. Okay, verse 12. But the worker who serves only for wages is not a real shepherd. Let's stop there. But the worker who serves only for wages is not a real shepherd. Are you doing or wanting to do God's work because you think, oh, it'll be fun, but also, well, I can get notoriety, I can become popular, I can be important, I can get money. I mean, we're part of the Vineyard. Money thing is not really a thing here for people. I know pastors and stuff that, I mean, they're in it for the money. And that's sad to say. I don't want to bash any fellow pastors or anything like that. But I also know people who become small group leaders or people on the worship team and doing ministry of that. So it brings attention to them. It brings them notoriety. It makes them feel important. But the worker who serves only for wages is not a real shepherd. If you're not doing it for the right reasons, you're not doing it right. If you're not doing what you do for Jesus because you love Jesus and you love the children of Jesus and you're doing it for any other motive, you need to step back and say, I'm not doing this right. We don't do what we do for attention, for notoriety, for wages, for importance. We do it because we love Jesus and he calls us to do it, and then so we have to be obedient in doing that. Anybody who's been around me for a long time knows I would much rather be in that box back there hiding and not talking to people than I would be up here. And I did that for 25 years in ministry. I did supports, did stuff back there, and I was content and happy. But we have to be obedient. And the thing is when we're obedient in the little things, God's going to create bigger things and bigger things and bigger things for us to be obedient in. And it's, and like Monica was saying when we were praying this morning, sacrifice is not the important thing, but obedience is. So if God's asking you to clean toilets, that's the greatest thing you could do in the world. And we're very thankful for the person who cleans our toilets. Every day I'm thankful for him. And if anybody wants to know, that's Desi. Thank you, Desi. It's so important to be about the Father's business for the right reasons. We're all called to be shepherds, and I'll get into that. But we need to do it for the right reasons. Any of you remember the story in Samuel? I think it's 1 Samuel 2. Talks about Eli's sons and the sacrifice. They were priests, and they're not the head ones, but they wanted to feel important, so they started doing things that they thought would be better to do because they were actually evil, because they were doing it for worldly reasons, not for spiritual reasons. The heart of God wasn't in them, so they were doing it just to be important. What happened to them? God killed them. They died. Luckily, Jesus is a little bit more, he stepped in the gap now, and they're a little bit more patient with us when we mess up. You know what? And we all mess up. There's sometimes I sit back and I go, okay, God, why am I doing what I'm doing? And like I shared, I don't share anything up here that God isn't trying to put to me first. I share the things that God is bringing to my heart, into my mind, and my spirit. I go through it, and then I share it with you guys. And hopefully it's something for all of us. We need to be reminded that our eyes need to be on the right reason. We are going into Christmas, and the reason for this season is Jesus. But who is Jesus? He's the good shepherd. He is the one who laid it all down. He came here. His gift, we celebrate the gift of him this month. Well, in doing so, we need to be doing things the way he would do it. What we do in this season and what we try to represent as Christians and fellow believers should represent him. Are we doing what we're doing because we want to feel important? Or do we want to bless people? The whole reason why Christmas became what it is to bless other people, was to give, not to get. was to be the one who's helping to take care of, not to receive. And there's times too that sometimes you have to receive, and that's being a good servant of God also. Because some people do not like to receive help. Some people don't like to ask for help. That's not being obedient. My wife's pointing her finger at me. Hey, I'm getting better. So, you point your finger at somebody, there's 3 more pointing back at you. Okay, let's go on. Because he has no heart for the sheep, he will run away and abandon them when he sees the wolf coming. Remember, this is Jesus talking. Somebody who knows what it is to be a shepherd. Let's go back to 12. But the worker who serves only for wages is not a real shepherd. They're just faking it. Because he has no heart for the sheep, he will run away and abandon them when he sees the wolf coming. And then the wolf mauls the sheep, drags them off, and scatters them. This is what the enemy is trying to do. This is what Satan's all about doing, to kill, steal, and destroy. Does that sound like a wolf? The wolf in sheep's clothing, all the stories that we've heard growing up and all that kind of stuff. That's what Satan's about. And Jesus is saying, if you're not a real shepherd, if you're not doing it because you don't love the sheep, then when threats come in, the predators come in, the enemy comes in, or the world gets rough, you hide. You run and save yourself, and you don't protect those who need your protection. That's not being a good shepherd. But the one who sees the wolf coming in and the predator coming in to attack and stands their ground and fights for what they need to fight for, that's a good shepherd. Laying down your life for what's important. That's what we got to do. Anybody who's been a parent understands that. But the thing is we should do it for each other. Because if not, the wolf will come in and scatter the sheep. And when the sheep get scattered, then there's one out here all alone, and then the wolf can come in and attack that one and is taken down. That's why that song is "He Leaves the 99" hits me so much. And again, like I said last week, Monica had no idea what I was teaching on today, and I was going to talk about leaving the 99. Because it's about being a shepherd. Being a good shepherd. You put the sheep where they'll be safe, and you go out for the one that just got lost and went astray. And you protect them. But also being a good shepherd sometimes is not just being loving and merciful and forgiving and patient and all that kind of stuff. You know what a shepherd does to a sheep that runs away a lot? He breaks their leg so the sheep can't run anymore, and then carries them around. And while the leg is mending, the sheep gets a bond with the shepherd. And so when the shepherd the healing is done to the sheep, the shepherd will set the sheep down, and that sheep won't leave that shepherd's side anymore. So if you've been going through and you've been running off and you've been lost and stuff and you feel like you've been broken, it's just the Father saying, stay with me. Let me heal you of this. Let me heal you of the wounds that the world created for you because they broke you and they tore you down. Spend your time with me so you'll know who I am, so I can love you in the manner you need to be loved. And how does God like to do that? Through you guys. We love the ones who are broken. We love the ones who are lost. We bring them in. We spend time with them so they have an understanding. We don't leave them out there to run alone and all that. Sometimes the sheep go out there and they get alone, and some of us try to chase them down, and we try to find them, and we try to call, and we do all things, and we can't find them. So then we got to just start praying and interceding. I have people in this church that we've hunted for months before we found them. That's what you do. And if you don't know where they're at, then the next best thing is just start interceding and praying for them and loving them through the intercession of your prayers and lifting them up so the Father can go and do what you can't. because we cannot do everything. But it's our heart that it needs to be the motive for us to be a good shepherd. It's not our pocketbook. It's not for being important so people remember my name. It's because it's what he would do is the reason why we should do. It's so important. Okay, I just want to make a little differential here. A pastor, that's me. There's a couple other ones here too. But a pastor is a minister in charge of a Christian church or congregation. Not everybody is called to be pastors.
Thank God.
That's right. You know, and sometimes, you know how Jesus was in the garden? He said, Jesus, if this could be taken from me, but nevertheless your will be done. You know, and Monica says, quit saying that. People are going to think you don't care about what you're doing. I do care about what I'm doing because this is what God asked me to do, and I'm being obedient in that. But there's times I'm going, God, why do you make me a pastor? Because I'd much rather be a shepherd. But pastors do both. But pastors they take care of a church. They take care of a congregation. Most of the stuff I do is behind the scenes. It's not here on Sunday morning. This is the fun part. The stuff during the week is when I say, man, if it wasn't for people, pastorship would be fun. And it's true, and it's sad. And then when I say that, just in joking, God says, you're not being a very good shepherd. Because not everything I call you to do is fun. But you can have fun in everything I call you to do. How many of you here have watched the movie, the series, The Chosen? You can get it on YouTube. It's called The Chosen. They did the first season. They're getting ready to do the second. You need to watch that. You can go and you can watch it because Jesus in that is just, he's awesome. And to me, they're doing such a great job of, I think, that's how I picture Jesus. The love that comes from the guy and the humor. He had fun and everything. Even when he's walking down and they're trying to do ministry, he's making fun of the people with him. Jesus was a fun guy. He wants us to have fun in what we do. Things are supposed to be lighthearted and joyful, not always drudgery and dreary and sad and overwhelming and all that. Why does he say his yoke is light if you walk with him? Because the weight's not on you. When there's no weight on you, you're having fun. How are you having fun? Because you're doing it with him. You get to be a shepherd and have fun while you're doing it. But you need to be a shepherd. And you need to be doing it because you love the people you're leading. Everybody here has a flock they take care of. If it's family, friends, workers, co-workers, people you just know that don't know who God is, you can show them the love of God and you can lead them to him just by that. That's being a shepherd. Sheep always don't want to be around the shepherd, but the shepherd knows because the shepherd listens to what needs to be done. The shepherd takes the flock to the grazing hills, the highlands, and in the cold weather they bring them down to the low ones. They take them to water every day. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help people get to the next place. And we do it with love, and they do it without them thinking or feeling like they're being pushed or tortured in a bad way. And the thing about being a leader of something is if you're leading a group and you're doing something and you look out there and they're not following, you're not leading right. You know what's even more amazing for you people? I'm a horse person because I love horses. When you have a herd of horses, everybody says, oh, the stallion is the leader. And the stallion's there, but the stallion's a protector. There's an alpha mare there that leads the whole herd. When they're running from something, it's the mare that's leading. You know where the stallion is? He's in the very back, biting those who aren't running fast enough. So do we want to be the leader running to where we need to go, or we want to be the one that's in the back having to create pain to keep people motivated, the stragglers and all that. You know what it is? But that's all part of it. That's all part of leading the herd, or leading the flock. Sometimes we do it by walking ahead of them. Sometimes we do it by coming up beside them and putting our arm around them and walking with them and keeping them up in pace. Sometimes we're that alpha mare. Sometimes we're that stallion in the back making sure nobody gets lost. If you go up to Williams, right up here, an hour away, one of my favorite places. Excuse me. My allergies are terrible. They have the flock of sheep up there. And what's really cool is every year there's the same shepherds are up there, and they have hundreds and hundreds, actually thousands of sheep sometimes. And they have the border collies that are pushing the sheep and doing the shepherds overseeing the whole bit. But he also has the Anatolian Great Pyrenees mixed dogs up there that all they do is they're a shepherd of the flock too. They just stay on the outlines and they protect the flock from predators. That's part of being a good shepherd also. The border collies, the working dogs, the ones that are more like a squirrel, they run around, they're shepherding, they're doing their thing, they're pushing them where they need to go. They're being a good shepherd. Then you have the shepherd guy who's there, who's overseeing and doing the whole thing and making sure the border collie's taking him where he needs to go, and that the Great Pyrenees are doing the job they need to do, and making sure there's overall safety. I'm using that example just to throw out there so you know there's multiple ways of shepherding. You don't have to be up here teaching. You don't have to be up here on the worship team. You don't have to be the one cleaning the toilets. But there's ways in your life, in your flocks, that you can lead. Either by guiding them along, sometimes pushing them, sometimes asking them along, sometimes just getting on your knees and interceding for them, asking God for a game plan to where they need to go next, and asking God to lead them in that direction. There's multiple ways we can be good shepherds. So we're not all called to be pastors, so we all can't just do this, but we all are called to be shepherds. Now, 1 Peter 5, 1-4, I just put this in here because the elders who are among you I exhort. I who am a fellow elder and a witness of the sufferings of